This conference will now be recorded.
All right, Velvet, come over here. As long as you'll stay here, they can hear and see you. Okay.
Okay.
And tell them what you've been doing. So
Okay. Good morning. So if you're at home, you missed our salsa lesson. So we were just getting into the rhythm, clapping out salsa. So salsa uses an 8 count, but you don't say the 3 and no, you don't say the 4 and the 8. So it's 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. And so now we've asked the question, why are we talking about salsa in a contract to close class? Any takers? I'm not sure. Ah, very good. That's a good reason.
now we know where your boy gets his smart.
So yeah, I have created 8 steps, or there are 8 steps that fit this. So that's very good. Yes, and it is a rhythm. So your business is a rhythm. All successful things have a rhythm to it. And so if you can find your rhythm in what you do with your buyers when you first meet them, what you do with your listings when you first get them, what do you do when you go under contract and you work to close? Because what I found myself doing as a newbie agent is I would stay awake at night, stressed over the things, some of them I had already done. And I was just needing to find my rhythm. So, oh my goodness, did we, have I met the option period deadline? Did I tell my buyer, did I tell my client about the deadline? Did I look over the title commitment? All these things would just keep me up. And I thought I have got to find my rhythm to where I know on this step, we do these things. On step 1, we step back and then we come forward. On step 4, we step forward and then we come back. So this whole class is about finding our rhythm and from contract to close. I will share with you what I've created and then you can completely make it your own. So let me go contract to close. So 8 steps, as Rita pointed out: contract, option period, title and survey, and financing. And then we move to the appraisal, the move, close, and then after close. These are the steps of the steps that I do for my contract to close that fit into my rhythm. So contract, every step has a checklist. So this is my checklist. I am a paper person. So anytime I'm under contract, I fill this out and I write it and I print it out and it goes with me wherever I go. It stays in my calendar, but you could keep this online in your Google Drive and have it there just as well. So we come over here to the contract. Okay, so when I was new, I would forget this approval letter. If you have a cash offer, you also want the proof of funds, because they're not working with the banks, they don't have a letter. I recently, I was representing the buyer on this one, did the entire transaction with the new agent. She not once asked me for proof of funds. It was a cash offer. And I had it, but I just told my client, I'm not going to submit it to them until they ask, unless they ask, and they never ask. So I put it on the checklist right under what you want the contract, you want the third-party finance if there is one, and you want that lender letter. You want to make sure that the people buying the property are qualified. And I will even call the bank and say, hey, how is this looking? How are they looking? Just find out a little bit of the risk. Have they submitted everything they need to submit? If you're in a multiple contracts or multiple offer situation, you want to know that the people that you're selecting or that your sellers are considering are going to get financing. And then sometimes you don't need, like if there's not a mud, you don't need that and you can just scratch it off. So then we come over here to the contract dates and things to do. I write all these things in and then I put them on my Google Calendar so that I know that I know that I know. And so where I have a hard time delegating this is that these contract dates have saved my clients. Agents do not all of them, many agents do not pay attention to the dates of the contract. And I hate to say it, but you will school people if you are paying attention to these, or you can. People thinking that they have you on the hook or you can't do this, and then you say, oh no, you know, here's the date. This is what the contract says. And so if you don't know the contract, you don't know your contract and you don't know the dates and you're not training the person who's taking over, you know, being your assistant or handling this for you, then you don't have this. And in my opinion, you're not doing the best for your client. This to me is where it gets really important. What am I doing?
Tom made a comment. I don't see.
Oh, tell me what. I don't know how to do this.
So here, I'm just gonna open comments.
Do I click on the message?
Yes, Tom is asking, will you share all these checklists after the meeting?
I will truly. I will.
You tell them what I said, because they didn't hear. No, look
Oh.
here, say,
Oh.
yes, Tom.
Yes, Tom. Okay, thank you. Yes, Tom, I will share these. I wanted to really, in the spirit of EXP, I wanted to share these with you guys, and so much great information has been shared to me. So all EXP agents, I want to gladly open this for. This is a lot of my intellectual work and time, and so I don't love the idea of sharing it to anyone, but for EXP, I love the idea of sharing it to you all. So yes, I will share those, Tom. Let me see. Frank, I'm sorry, but I don't know how to scroll down.
You see
Do
that?
we need to be online so that our information captured?
No, we don't need to be online, so,
I think I found it.
okay.
Okay, so then I come down to this, after I capture all the dates, and then I'm telling you, I have to remind myself to do little things like change on the MLS. If you're the listing agent and you have a contract and you've accepted an offer and you don't change to pending or option pending, that buyer's agent's going to get a hold of you and remind you. So I have to remind myself, put it on my checklist. Don't forget to change the status on the MLS. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to send an email to the title company, tell them that we're executed. So in my little drive, you come over here, here's my email to the title. So this is my little system, it's all in a Google Drive. We go over to the email, it tells you, the email goes to the escrow officer, the escrow team, you copy the lender and you copy the co-agent and you include all contract and any counters and addendums. Okay, so it tells you what to do and what to include. This helps if you're bringing someone on and you train them, they open it, they know exactly what to do, and then bam, there's the email. Good morning, and then you can change the name. Escrow officer, please open escrow. You change the address, you put in your client's name, and then you let the title company know, the loan officer, the lender, the lender's information. Now, SkySlope has an automated title email that they'll send for you. It looks very similar to this. It's easier for me just to copy and paste this and send it. So either one works. Okay, so that's the email to title. Once I've done that, I come back to my checklist and go, what's next? I sent my email to the title company. And my next thing is send the email to the client. So I go back to my drive and here's my email to client. Client, congratulations on a successful executed contract. I'm going to let the client know all the important dates and deadlines. Why? My name is not on the contract. Their name is on the contract. It is ultimately on them to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. It's my job to make sure that they know what they're supposed to be doing and to keep these deadlines in front of me. But I'm going to keep them in front of them. I'm going to let them know, here's the deadline for the option money. Here's an option period deadline, the title commitment deadline. I left this one off for a while, but did you know the contract actually says the seller has 20 days to get the title commitment to the buyer? So I added that to this list. So guess what? If the seller doesn't have it and I'm representing the buyer, that's an out. We just keep in our back pocket if we need it. We don't want it. We don't want to need it, but if we needed it. So we have their deadlines, and then we have little along the way. Well, look what along the way is. It's our 8 steps. Option period, inspection. When we come down, the title commitment, financing, appraisal, move, what's going to happen when you move, closing documents, and what happens after close. So we're setting up, we're giving the framework for our contract to close to the client from the very beginning. So do you think that that establishes some credibility and some safety for them as we move along this contract? We'll just continue to come back to these things that they're already familiar with, we've already given them, but we're laying out the dance, okay? We're showing them our rhythm. Okay, so we send the email to, in the email it says, we attach this, or I attach this map. So it's our journey to close. It's our dance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so they have a visual to go with everything of the dance. This actually came from, EXP gives us a tool called Broker Breakthrough, and there's a listing presentation in Broker Breakthrough, and this is one of the slides in there, and I just modified the words to go with the dance. Okay. So let's see if there's any other things in our contract checklist. So we sent the email to title, we sent to the client. If you're the seller, you may want to put it under contract writer on your sign. So let all the neighbors know that you've done a great job. And then you want to put the contract dates and deadlines on your Google Calendar. Make sure that your client doesn't miss anything. Okay, down here at the bottom, I always just try to capture the financials for the client. So who's paying the title insurance, the buyer or seller? How much is that going to be? So there is, I don't have it on here, but you can, any of the title companies will have a calculator on their website, or you could even Google title insurance calculator, and you put in the sale price of the home, and it'll tell you what the title insurance cost will be. All title insurance is the same. It doesn't matter where you go, the amount of that policy will be the same. And I'm going to capture it right here at the very beginning, because at the end of the transaction, things can get a little hairy. But right here at the beginning, I've thought through everything that my client is going to have to pay and what we're expecting. Extended coverage, that's if they're buying the extra coverage that covers the survey, the insurance policy on the survey. Those calculators will tell you that as well. I'll put it right there. Who is it? Is it part of the contract, and who's paying it? Because at the end, when they give you that HUD statement, and we're supposed to be checking for what's on there, these are the things that we want to be checking for. Did my clients buy that coverage, and is it on? Is it on there? Has that policy been ordered? Home warranty, that's part of the contract. Is the seller paying home warranty, and if so, how much? Are they contributing to the buyers at closing? If so, how much? How much are the commissions going to be? How much is the earnest and the option money going to be? Is there a new survey that's going to be purchased? And that, will be an estimate, but I do mark it to see if a new survey is being purchased, because if that's on the HUD, I want to make sure it's on the HUD and make sure that my client is only responsible for paying for it if they're supposed to be. And then the POA transfer fee. So all these things I capture at the very beginning. And like I said, this paper walks around with me. No idea how many times I get to the closing table sometimes and have to use this sheet of paper because the title company didn't get to the settlement statement to us, or the lender didn't get the documents in time, and so it's last minute, and I can pull this paper out and know exactly what my client should be charged for and review it right there. And then, so I find it to be handy just to have all this in one spot. So that's the first step of the dance. Second step is the option period. So what kind of things do you think would be on this checklist? What's that? Okay. I'm sorry, what? I didn't hear you. Oh, okay, yes. Buyer delivering funds to the title company. That will definitely be on here. Let's see what else. So on this checklist, we have get wire instructions from title company and send a buyer for earnest and option money. It's just nice to have that option, and also saves you from running around town. If they prefer to send it that way, then that is easiest, and I have more buyers now wanting to do it that way. Get option receipt from the title company. I put a little MH here because I listened to Michael Hughes, who's, has a legal background. I listened to his contract to close class, and this is something he emphasized. So if he emphasized it, we're going to emphasize it. But we all know we have to get that option receipt from the title company, and it cannot be late. They should know that as well. Ensure all utilities are on at the home. We cannot do an inspection unless also, if you're representing the seller has to have everything on. If it's a vacant home and they've moved out and they've turned the water off or electricity, all those things have to be on for the inspection. If you're representing the buyer, then you have to be mindful of that, especially now that people are doing like 5-7 day, I heard someone do a 2-day option period. Like if those aren't on, then you've given your client a handicap from the very beginning. And for new builds, this comment that was made. Oh, well, yes, they should be on as new construction, yeah. Schedule an inspection with the buyer's preferred inspector. Now, yesterday was the first that I had heard that we should not give 3 referrals for, any contractor that we're sending. I try to have this information to my client ahead of time if they're the buyers. And the 3 people that are on my preferred list now, and it may go down to 1, are people who have strong Facebook presences or online presence, so that my clients can go and kind of see their personality, know who they are, see the kind of work that they do and feel comfortable with them, and then, let them pick, or just send 1. And then we can ask the buyer if they want other inspections. Roof, if there's a septic, I would definitely encourage them to get a septic inspection, a pool inspection if there's a pool, a pest inspection, termite inspection, foundation inspection. The inspector will point out some of these things, but definitely if there's a septic or a pool, you're going to want to be, encouraging that and asking that question.
Well, if you anyone add HVAC.
Oh, yes. Thank you. See, this is what I love about this. This is a collaborative class. So if you have a suggestion, feel free to throw it out there, and I'll try to watch the chat as well. Thank you, Frank. We want to remind the buyer to contact their insurance agent for an insurance quote. Okay, if the insurance on the house is going to be astronomical, it might put them over their budget, and that's something that you'd want to know in the option period. A clue report is, that general information to give to buyers and sellers? It mentions a clue report. A lot of agents don't know about it, but you can ask the insurance agent I guess any insurance agent to pull a report of the home. It'll tell you the last 5 years if there have been any claims made on the home. Was there fire or any kind of damage that the insurance company has had to pay out on? The insurance company can let you know. Okay, send your client information. So Ben Lignovsky sponsored my salsa event. And so it hurts not at all for him to be introduced to my clients and give them another estimate. So find your preferred agent. They like it when you give them business, and you like it when they give you business. So make it a partnership with the people that you work with and appreciate, who do things for you, and you do things for them. And they may have their agent and that has this quote, but give them another one. That doesn't hurt. Those are good partnerships to have. And then you're going to review the inspection report, discuss the inspection report with the client, and prepare an amendment if needed. Okay, and then Michael says, be specific with who chooses and completes repairs. No repair or replace this or that, the water heater or whatever. It needs to be specific on what it is and what the expectation is. Okay. So in this folder, I also have my preferred list of the people that are my go-to, the people that I try to create a relationship. I check in on them, try to make sure how they're doing, promote their business when I can, and then they do the same for me. And if I ever need them, it's just a copy and paste away. I just go grab these, copy it, and paste it to an email and send it out. Okay. The next step, 3, is title survey. Once we're through option period, and sometimes the title company gets the title commitment out earlier, we have our title survey checklist. So I worked with an agent who just didn't know what to do with the commitment. So this was my thing. They're little things. These are little things that go a really long way, but are the names correct on the title commitment? Okay, is the lot and block correct? I mean, my husband actually built a spec home on a piece of property, and he says sometimes he still wakes up at night because he is not convinced that the surveyor and the title company have the right lot and block on that commitment. That's a horrible thing to live with. So just make sure that those are correct. Verify the charge for the title insurance. It'll be at the very bottom of the commitment policy. Just make sure that the number that you calculated matches what they're going to charge. Make sure that they have the extra survey coverage on there if it's been ordered. And then I always call the title company and ask if there are any red flags, because I try to read those things and try to think that I'm really smart, but I'm not. And new things come up. I mean, there's so many crazy things out there that it could be, that I always just pick up the phone and say, hey, do you see any red flags, anything that we need to address? Yes.
Or do you work as a selling agent a lot of the time? Or you kind of balance?
I kind of balance.
Okay, so when you're representing the seller,
Just hold on, if you would repeat the questions, so
Okay.
they know what you're answering.
Okay.
so when you're representing the seller and they open title, can they let you know about any red flags before you actually have a contract?
So the question is, if you're representing the seller and you open title, can they let you know of any red flags before you go under contract? If they'll open title, they can. I think it costs the title company money to do that, and so I have had resistance. Only like if you have a relationship with the title company and it's extenuating circumstances, have I experienced that they're willing to open title before you have a contract. But they can alert you, and if you're alerted to something, then you might want to share that with your someone that you have a relationship and say, hey, I think this is going on, and they might be willing to do that. But do you have another answer?
Do I have the answer?
Yes.
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you don't want to ask them to run a preliminary title search unless you suspect there are problems. And in that case, if it's the title company that you use consistently, which it should be, if you're bringing it to them, then they'll do it.
Okay, so Frank says you do not want to ask title to open a policy preliminarily or ahead of time unless you're alerted that there are some problems going on. Okay, and then this little checklist on here I actually got from a title company. I asked them, what are things that agents can do to make your life easier? What makes a good relationship for you? And so they said these things. Let us know ahead of time if this transaction is linked to another one. They would like to know those things because they've got the timing of that stuff is very sensitive, and it's on their plate to make sure that that is handled. Let them know if clients are first-time home buyers or sellers. That alerts them that there's maybe a little more communication that they need to do and education, and they're happy to do that. If the clients are not U.S. citizens or do not speak English, then they can accommodate that, maybe get someone who speaks the language that they speak, which would make it much more comfortable for the client. If there's a disability that they need to accommodate, they would like to know that ahead of time. They do a good job of making us look good, always trying to say things or do things. I don't know if you guys have noticed, to make us look good because they want to work with us. So this is ways that we can help make them look good. If we let them know that, maybe that a wheelchair is coming in, or maybe someone is on crutches or something, and they can do things on their end up front to make it better for them, that helps them out. And then of course, they need to know ahead of time if a power attorney is being used. So let's see what else is in this folder. Okay, so when the title commitment comes in, then I let my client know. Good afternoon, we've received the title commitment. Our buyers have until whatever day the contract says to make objections. The commitment is attached, which they generally already have, but it doesn't hurt to get another copy. Review at your convenience. And then I always give the title company info to them. Again, I've already given it to them in the first email, but I give it to them again because I want them to call. I mean, again, it's on them, whatever happens. So they should hear it firsthand for themselves, what's going on with that commitment, especially if there's an issue. I don't like to be the one conveying those things. You know, I'm not an expert on title, so I don't want to be, stuck, conveying information the way that I have filtered it. And then I let them know if you want to have a lawyer review it, you're more than welcome to. Here they are. I don't know how to do those things. So, and then this is where I also let them know that the title company will be reaching out to you. The title company needs to know things like their address, the information for their mortgage company. What is their, they need to find out the payoff. Are they married? That's another step that they send this information to the client, and I'm telling you 95% of the time my client will not. They're used to getting correspondence from me. They're not used to getting correspondence from the title company, and we do all this wire fraud warning stuff that it's almost like it's just a disregard. So if I can get involved there, and sometimes I'll even upload it to my Adopt Loop, prepare it, so that they can fill in the blanks and let them sign it, and it comes from me, and that helps the title company out a lot. But you tell them here that it's coming, sometimes it's not about actually getting the action to be done. It's just making them feel comfortable that you know the process and you are guiding them through. And so if you prepare them that this is coming and then it comes, that just establishes credibility for you, okay, that you know the dance. Okay, and then the title company that I use in Montgomery made this for me, and I love to send this out. I attach this to that email. When I say the title commitment is in, I attach this. So the title company is telling them, this is how you read the title commitment. Schedule A is for the actual facts. It's telling the names and the legal description of the property. B is for buyer notification. C is for clear to close. These are the things that have to happen before we're to close. And then D is for disclosure. So this is the title company telling them, this is how you read the commitment. And early on, to be honest, I would come here. I'll go, okay, the title commitment is in. Let me see, what is it? What's going on here? What am I looking for? So this was just a helpful guide for me, and I found it to be helpful to send to the client. Okay,
The striker actually allows something happens like that, it doesn't have the
I haven't seen it, but I will tell you, I did do a snapshot. This is a PDF, so I did a snapshot of it that doesn't have that to use in my listing presentation. Okay, so that's step 3, title survey, and we're going to move on to financing. Again, if you guys think of something that I missed, or like, oh, I do this here, feel free to shout it out. It can be collaborative. So call the lender and ensure the client has submitted all information and file is moving forward. Have all lender requirements been satisfied? That's the question I wanted to ask them. And that came from Michael's class as well. I think he pointed out that the clear to close is thrown out a lot, but what does it really mean to be clear to close? We want to know, have all your requirements been satisfied, and are we going to meet this deadline? And by the way, we do have a deadline, and this is when it is, and how are we looking, and get the status on that. And then we send an email to the buyer. And all these emails, guys, they're good talking points to follow up on. So you can send an email and then make that phone call, because we should be, talking to our client weekly, if not sometimes daily, especially for buyers. And use that as your template to go over. Hey, I sent you an email, and the title commitment was in. Have you been able to look over that? Did you have any questions? Okay, I put the escrow officer's number in there. You might want to call her. I do have a call with her also set up, but it doesn't hurt. Use them as the reason to make the phone call. It gives you your guide for what to say and what to do. And it just reinforces the process in them. Okay, so let's take a look at this email. And I added this actually from Michael's class because he says, put in writing that you have notified them of the deadline. You know, especially for buyers, this financing deadline, this is one of the last hurdles of getting your earnest money back. So if you miss this deadline, then you're talking that, you know, their earnest money can be gone. So put it in writing. Hey, our deadline is coming up. You know, I put it in all caps here. If we do not notify the seller in writing by 5 p.m. on the deadline, you must forfeit the earnest money. Okay, I will also be contacting your lender and we'll call you soon. When is a good time? So let them know. And I guess I could say okay, so that's it for financing. Any questions there? Oh, IQ. We have a roofing.
So one thing.
Yeah, yes, please.
Just a suggestion that would soften that letter a little bit
Okay.
with the you will, you know, lose the earnest money. I think what I would do is add a clause before that
Let's do it.
and say, as we approach this deadline, let's see, what do you have it here? If we do not notify the seller in writing by 5 p.m. on blank, or negotiate an extended financing period before then, or negotiate an extended financing period before then, you will or you must forfeit the earnest money. So that there is an option there.
Yes, I like that.
Okay, all right.
Yes, perfect. Yes. You know, all good. No one has arrived. Okay, I don't know if you have known that. So this is a great system that works for me. You can tweak it and make it your own. You can add 2 things. That's what I'm saying. If there's something I've missed, you say it. We're better together. So there are lots of experts in our industry. I'm not one of them, but we all that can be experts together. Okay. So step 5, the appraisal. Okay. In my binder, I put together a little binder for the appraiser. I like to meet the appraiser. It kind of goes like when you touch someone, when you're dancing and you touch someone, you are more personable, you are softer. This isn't recorded, right? I don't. What I have learned about people is if you can get their guard, people want to be on your side, and there are some people that don't, and there are some appraisers that. But if you have a warm interaction with people, it's better. You're starting from a better place, and it never hurts to spread kindness. And I don't mean that. You know, you got to check yourself because everything's a position of the heart. So you could be, your one action could be very manipulative or it could be very sincere, but it's the same action. So we want to express kindness, but it does help our seller if we have a warm interaction, you know, with everyone that we come in contact with. There you go. With the title company, with the other buyer or seller's agent, you know, we want to be very kind and professional. So, but I do put a binder together and present it to the appraiser. And in the binder, these are the things I include: the printout for the subject home, a copy of the contract. If there are other offers, if it's a multiple offer situation, show the appraiser that this is more. There are multiple offers on this property, so if you know this one doesn't go through, we're gonna go with this one, and you're gonna be back out here again. So take that into consideration. It's a wanted property.
You say copy contract. Do you do the entire or just the first page that has sales price?
Yeah, just the first page. Yeah. If you've done any sales work, a brochure, for your open house, or I always do a feature sheet, put that in there. If there are a list of improvements, put that in there. If there was just a new roof put on the house, if there's a new HVAC system, but make sure that he knows, or he or she knows those things. The printouts of your comps, let them see. Any pending sales. The RPR report will do some of this for you. I try not to get the whole 30-page thing. But the RPR does very nicely and succinctly put some of those things together. And if you have a template that you use for that, then that's fine to use. If you have the survey, include the survey. If you have a floor plan, include those things. To your client or to the seller, if the seller's your client, let them know the time and day that the appraiser is coming. Let them know that we want the house to look like in showing condition. It needs to be clean of clutter. We can't know at this point people are moving and things are boxed up, but we want to have it clean and as presentable as they're able to get it. And then we want to make sure that we text the seller and let them know yes.
Do you meet the appraiser regardless of whom you represent?
I do, only if there's been one occasion where I did an appraisal binder for my buyer, and then I did. But
Typically it's a seller.
Correct. So yeah, Frank made a good point. Typically, I'm only meeting the appraiser if I'm representing the seller. Yeah. And then we need to, yeah, I generally will let the other agent know too when the appraisal is. So this I put here second. This I thought was a really helpful article that I still refer to sometimes. It was an article called "Quick, the appraiser is at the door," and so it's just good. It was just a helpful article that I put in there and I refer to a lot. It has what to do if you don't meet appraisal. You don't contact the appraiser and knock down the door. You contact the lender. Which I've had to do a couple of times. And so this document is in there for my reference only. It tells you here, prior to an appraisal inspection, educate your clients on how to best prepare. So I've already accounted for these things in my email and my checklist, but it's a good tool for me to go back and recalibrate myself when it comes to appraisal. I kind of get nervous at this, at the appraisals. This is what my report generally looks like for the appraiser. I tell them about the community. And this, I just go to the community's website. This is, one of the last ones I did. And I just tell them about the neighborhood. I tell them about the exterior. And this all this all comes from the things I did to prepare for my listing, the stuff that I handed out at the open houses. Tell them about the interior, what the utilities are, my comparables. And I don't know if this is overkill, but I'll tell them the negative features and the positive features compared to the other ones. Yeah. So this is what mine looks like that I put in there for. So this characteristics and conditions, I don't know if you guys have looked at an appraisal report, but there's a little section that says characteristics and conditions. I tried to model this sentence after what they're looking for. So Blue Heron is a suburban neighborhood built up over 75%. In their appraisal report, they have a question, how much is the neighborhood built out? So I'm giving them the information so they don't have to search for it, making it real easy for them. Property values, yes.
So along that line, can you answer at the 25, 50, 75% mark of the differences that you see in appraisal for the same house? Do you know whether it's positive or negative as far as the potential valuation? Is there, in other words, does it work in positive or in the negative, the 25, 50, 75% will know?
That I do not. So the question is, does it work in the positive or negative regarding the percentage that a neighborhood is built up? And that I do not know.
No, I have no question.
Oh, okay. And I think that is probably more like if it's a new neighborhood, because that might have a negative impact. If, if it's a new neighborhood, there's gonna be all this construction going on. Maybe so. This particular neighborhood there weren't that many lots left to build. So I could see where 75% would be, in favor, or 100% would be, I guess, the best, the way I'm interpreting, but I honestly do not know.
What kind of reaction do you get from appraisers when you meet them with this information? And do they know that you're going to?
They do know that I'm going to meet them. So I'll say I'll meet you there. I have some information, for you, or, if on rare occasion, I'll just email it over. I've never had, I think everyone is pleasant and kind, and, most people are, I think most appraisers are appreciative, and maybe if they're not, they don't show it to you. Yeah. Oh, are you? Yeah. Okay. So he said that appraiser, we had someone who's an appraiser in the class here, and he says that the appraisers will appreciate it, but they're not really going to pay attention to it. But it's why I think this characteristics and conditions is really the most important sentence, because it answers, when they're checking boxes, I'm trying to save them from having to think about it. I want them to know that values are increasing. And I started doing that because I sold a house in River Plantation, and the market was going gangbusters. This was last year. And he put that the market was stable. And I was so angry because I was like, it is not stable. How could you call this a stable market? So I'm just telling him, like, it's increasing. And if you say it's not, then you already know, I don't agree with that. So I'm just saving him the time of having, he or she, the time of having to consider it. And I'm letting him know in this case, there's a shortage of waterfront homes, and homes are selling in less than 1 month, because that's another thing that they'll use it at their discretion in this particular appraisal in River Plantation. The days on the market for homes was less than a month. Like, I'm gonna say less than 2 weeks. And he said that it was like 60 or over, and that was false information. But if I can just help him along and let him know that this is, according to my data, this is what the market says, and maybe I can just help him. Yes.
So on the appraisal issue, that's another question you may want to put on your ask the lender list, where you said, has the loan met all the conditions for approval or something like that? You could add a question: does this property qualify for an appraisal waiver?
Oh, that's good.
Because we're seeing that a significant number of homes do qualify based upon the amount of the down payment and then just a few home characteristics. Does this home qualify for the appraisal waiver?
That's good.
Because that could save hundreds and hundreds of dollars for the buyer, and then it could save a potential fight over values if there was an appraisal.
That's good. So for those at home, Frank made the suggestion that we add the question to the phone call with the lender: does this property qualify for an appraisal waiver? Because that could save lots of money for the client and time as well for the transaction.
Yes, it does. It depends on the type of loan, down payment, the age of the home, those kind of things. But I would say over half of the loans that we're doing in Jackson County are qualifying for an appraisal waiver.
That's good.
So it's a huge savings.
So that's the appraisal report template, and then we have the email to the seller here. So this is the email that I send out to the seller, preparing them, that the appraisal has been scheduled. This is the scheduling date. Of course, I want to tell them that on the phone as well, but at least they have it here in writing. And then giving them some tips on how to prepare their home. I always tell them, contact me with any questions, contact me with any questions. Make it very warm. You know, they should never feel scared about contacting me. Okay, so that's step 5, the appraisal. Step 6, I added this because I want to remember that my clients are moving. And it is a stressful time. It can be a very stressful time for people. So this is a great time to check in and say, how are you doing? How is everything going? Do you need any movers? Do you need recommendations for that? Do you need boxes? You know, the Kroger, they always have boxes I can go pick up. How can you help them in this move? It's a good time to introduce them to the 360 Home Connect for the buyers. You know, if you want to call to transfer all the utilities, hop online here, and this company will do all of that for you. They'll transfer they'll find out what TV you want, what internet you want, all those things, and set it up. Do you need a house cleaner for when you move? I mean, it's so daunting to pack up all your house and then have, you know, this house to clean up also. Sometimes I'll offer to pay for that service, just because if they're so stressed with the move and they're short on time, you know, how can I help them?
I just said on for another meeting,
Okay,
just when you're done, get the red X up there, if you don't mind, that'd be something.
okay, I will do it. Thanks, Frank.
Great.
Oh. I have the house cleaner on here twice, but yeah, so this is a good time to just touch them on a very personal level. Find out how they're doing, check in. Home warranty information is also good right now. If they're getting home warranty policy with their contract, go ahead and send them that so they can look through the policies themselves and decide which company they want to work with. Of course, this again, after yesterday, Frank saying it's better to send one, but I've been in the habit of sending 3. Those are the things I don't want to be on the hook for. So I do. And so this is the.
Can you explain the unlooked for statement?
Well, okay, so we had a client recently who had a home warranty with their contract, and they all the appliances in the kitchen were upgraded. It was, you know, one of those things where the refrigerator was one whole unit and the freezer was one whole unit, and the freezer went out. Well, the policy only covered one standing unit in the refrigerator. Well, I mean, in the kitchen. Well, the spirit of the policy was they're not going to cover like your extra freezer or those things. But that's what was written in the policy. So they didn't, the warranty company would not cover the fix for their freezer. And it was an expensive fix, and it was a high-end kitchen. And the warranty company knew and understood the spirit of why that was written, but they wouldn't cover it. So my client had to cover it. So that would have come on me if I chose the warranty company for them or told them, hey, this is the best warranty company out there. They're going to take care of you. I like to give them the option. You look through, you decide what they need. Now, did I as an agent learn something from that? Yes, if you're selling $1 million homes and they're upgraded appliances, then we got to find a policy that protects you better. So what are those? I learned that, but that one didn't. The policy they chose didn't. And so these home warranty companies have links to their brochures online, and they have paper ones too, but you can send them online and your clients can click the link. And I think I have that in the email, right? Do I have an email for this one? Somewhere in one of the steps, there's an email that gives them the home warranty information and just allows them to go look at the brochures and pick the policy that works best for them. Same with inspectors. That's how we were taught, is that you give them a list of inspectors and let them pick. My husband, when he was an agent, did a transaction where during Harvey, the roof just leaked, and it was our client's second home. So they weren't there. So when they went to the house, there was all this water in there. Well, they came back on my husband because he had referred the inspector. And so we just kind of learn from that point on. We give them the choice. Like, here are 3 good ones that we like to work with. You vet them out, decide which one you like, and then, you know, it kind of saves some headache for you. But according to Frank yesterday, he's recommending now that you just pick one that you really like, and that should save you, how did he say it? It's like lawsuits. There are fewer lawsuits by just recommending one. I like to do this fun letter. If the seller is my client, I try to find out this information ahead of time. These are things you're scrambling at the last minute. Where are the keys going to be left? Where are the garage door openers going to be left? What's the alarm information? Is there a code? I mean, one of the houses I sold had a gate code, and then a code for the garage, a code for the exterior door in the backyard. What are the codes on all those things? So I just try to, every time, you know, a new thing comes up, I try to add it to this list so I can ask about it ahead of time. And then there, you know, the other agents that isn't calling me at the last minute. Hey, there's a padlock on the gate and we don't have a key for it. If they have a professional cleaning service, and I like to send this list out too because it lets my client know the expectation. I want your house to be clean for the, you know, if I'm representing the seller, we want the house to be clean. If you know, well, any seller, you want the house to be clean. That's just good for your reputation. What's the mail information? Do you have to walk, you know, to the street over to get to the mailbox? Which one is the unit? You know, these are things that need to be communicated. The buyer doesn't know. So just as I go along and have a new thing, I just add it to the list. Does the mail come at 9 o'clock in the morning, or does it come at 3 o'clock in the afternoon? These are just little personal touches that make you stand out. Oh, and then here was one that, do you have dogs in the yard, and are you going to get that stuff picked up for the buyers? Contractors. So I know the seller's disclosure will have, hey guys, I think that the schedule said that this class was an hour, and Frank actually told me to go an hour and a half, and I noticed we're right at the hour mark. So if you need to go, no hard feelings, the same as in here. I understand that. But you know, we're on step 5 of the dance, and we'll start to speed up here a little bit. Maybe we're on 6. So the seller's disclosure has the utilities, you know, who's the water company, who's the energy company. These are just extras. Was there an HVAC service that came out and serviced your unit regularly? Let's pass that information on because the buyers might want to use the same person. Was there a pest control person that came out and really knows your property? And let's give them that information. Was there a yard service, cleaning service that came out? Like, let's let them know the people who already know that home, because they might want to continue on with those services. Neighborhood information. Is there an annual 4th of July party, or it doesn't have to be every little thing, just a personal touch. Clubhouse information. Favorite restaurants in the area. You know, I'm working Montgomery a lot, so there, you know, what was the seller's favorite places to go? Favorite margarita, favorite recreation. And so what I like to do, if I'm representing the seller, then I put that in the letter in a letter form to the buyer, and I like to leave it on the countertop. Because don't forget, once you close, that homeowner is now free game. So let them know that you are the agent in the area to work with. They want to work with you because these are just they're little touches that go a long way. So I let them know this is where the keys are going to be. This is where the garage doors opener are. These are the contractors that were used on this property. The pest control. Oh, recycling. I put that on the letter. It wasn't on my thing. Is there recycling? And what day does the recycling come? What day does the trash come? Does the trash come in the morning? Does the trash come at night? All things that will save them a lot of frustration if they know going in. And then make it a personal touch. The former people liked the big sombrero. They thought it was the best Mexican food and margaritas. The Pizza Shack has great margaritas there too. I mean, you don't have to, this is just their information. You're not, you know, things that they like. They love Lake Conroe, and then I'm welcoming them to the neighborhood. Welcome to the neighborhood and congratulations on your new home. Here I have saved in here just this is more information that I've gotten from title company that I just, if I need it, if they're moving with young kids and I hear them, how are you doing? How's the move going? Yeah, it's going good for me. My kids are really stressed out. Okay, I have a tool. What are some things that other people have experienced? Let me look over this and get ahead of that. I think there's another one in here for pets. Pet moving checklist. If they have a pet, maybe they want to know, maybe they need some help with the I don't know. This little thing. I've never really used those, but they're there if I need them. This is my preferred move vendor list. So if they need a mover, how's it going? I never really need a mover. We just can't find anyone. Well, let me send you a list of the ones that I know are good in the area. Let me send them that list. Okay, so that's step 6. We'll go on to step 7, the close. Yay! Everyone likes a good close. Okay, purchase a gift for the client and write a thank you card. Okay, it sounds cheesy, but I do have a document called thank you card document. If I am in a rush, and I like to be so thoughtful that these thank you cards can take me like 45 minutes, but if I don't have it, I go to my thank you card document and I just copy what is there. It's thoughtful. It was thoughtful at one point, and I'm reviving the thoughtfulness. Upload your documents to SkySlope and submit the CDA. You're not going to get paid without that, so put that on your checklist and make sure it gets done. Send the home warranty email to the buyer. Schedule a closing date with the client and title company. Let the title company know we know that we want the document sent to client for review ahead of time. I do this, not everybody does this, but if your client is using a lender, their stack of documents to sign is this deep, and they're not going to look at them. If they get them ahead of time, they're not going to look at them, but at least you gave them the opportunity to look at them, and you gave them the opportunity, okay, if you want to have a real estate attorney review these, here they are. They're in your possession. They can do what they want with them, and it kind of encourages the process. So if the title company knows that they're going to have to send those out, then they're on the lender to get them to them before the morning of closing. Once your client chooses their home warranty policy, make sure the title company knows that, because they'll call them and get that set up, and the charge will be on the HUD. Ask title for a copy of home warranty invoice for the seller. Okay, not everyone does this, but this is a big one for me, because the contract says the seller will pay up to X amount. So if the up to amount is $650, but the policy that the buyer chose is only $500, the seller is only responsible for paying $500. I want to make sure that my seller is only paying $500. They're not paying $650 just because the contract said that they would pay $650. The contract says they'll pay up to $650, but if there's no one verifying that that policy only costs $650, then they could be out $150, which at that point they're so brain dead it doesn't matter. But I shouldn't be brain dead. I should be looking after my client, making sure that they are only be charging for what they're responsible for. And then we have an email that we're going to send if I'm representing the seller, and a separate email if I'm representing the buyer. Again, I want to make sure that the house is going to be cleaned. So if they're not planning on cleaning it, that's just hey, I know you guys are moving, closing is, at the end of the week, how's it going? Are you going to be able to have the house cleaned? And if they're not, then that might be my cue to step in and just make sure that I need to help them out in that area. We also need to schedule the buyer's walkthrough. If you're not representing the buyer, if you're representing the seller, it's still good. You want to know when that walkthrough is, because they need to be out of the house and know that they shouldn't be coming back. The house should be left in the condition that it's going to be when the buyer takes possession. And so we got to communicate that date effectively. And so that will be in the email, but I also want to make that a talking point for them on the phone. Confirm that the buyer knows the money arrangements. Are they going to do a cashier's check? Are they going to wire the money? If they are going to wire, then we need to make sure that they know they need to call the title company, get the instructions from the title company, let the title company know when they're sending it, and all that is good. So a little bit of work around that. Do the buyer's walkthrough if you're representing the buyer, leave the letter from the seller on the counter, and then text directions to the title company, to your client, and remind them of the date and time. I just find it's great to text them. You know, I send the address in the email, but if they text, all you have to do is push the map link and they can go. And then we're gonna go remove the sign from the yard and remove the Supra from their house. Here's my closing thank you note. It's just right there to copy if I need it. And then we've got this is the home warranty email that's on the checklist. I actually got these from a title company. We're gearing up for closing. Per the contract, the seller is contributing X amount toward your home warranty policy. You can choose any home warranty company you wish, but here's a list if you need help. Let me know which one works for you. See you soon. Here's my cleaning referrals. You can put any other referrals right here. These are house cleaners. And then the email to closing email to buyer. Just giving them little tips. Hey, and you know what? Here's the thing about these systems. You're not going to be able to copy and paste every word. You're going to have to tailor it for each client. I mean, not every client's going to use a moving truck. Not every client's going to get a home warranty policy. So you do have to read them through, make the changes, the date changes, the name changes, the home address changes. I mean, nothing is just completely automatic, but this just gives you the system to make it a little bit easier so that you're not thinking, do I have to do this? Did I do that? Did I do that? Okay, you can just do the checklist and see if you've done some of these things. And again, like I said, modify it, add to it or take away. If there's something you consistently don't use, then you can take it off. And then this is where I like to do this. I've never seen, I don't know if any other agents do this, but I like to let them know, this is what I'm looking for. We're going to be getting the settlement statement soon. These are the things that I'm looking for. The title company, the title policy should cost this much. The warranty should cost this much. We did get a survey. It's going to cost this much. All those things. The option money you paid $200, it should come off. This is where I capture that so that they know this is what we're looking for. That little bit of work I did at the very beginning comes in really handy right here at the end. And then if it's a buyer, I just remind them your walkthrough is scheduled for this date and time. Attached is a reminder of the list of exclusions the seller will take. This is so important too, because it kind of reminds everyone, this is what the seller is going to take. Seller, if you didn't put it on this list and it's attached, then guess what? You don't have rights to it. And we can just, remind everyone at this step of the process that these things are going to go. So there are no surprises. And then closing email to the seller is very similar, but just written from a seller's point of view. A few more checklists. Confirm the date and time of the mover, schedule a time for the home to be cleaned, pick up the yard, including any animal waste, call utility companies to schedule cutoff the day after closing, and report the change of address to the postal service. Okay, so then now we're to after close. Okay, Michael was saying touch at day 1, day 3, and day 7, I think he said. So after close, we're going to send an email to the buyer, and we have that email. We're going to ask the title company to send signed documents electronically. We're going to need to sign that or upload that final settlement statement to SkySlope, and it's nice for our clients to have their documents electronically. Add the closing anniversary date to KV Core and or your calendar. Whatever your CRM is, it will automatically send your clients a happy 1-year anniversary, and they're like, oh, she remembered me. And you can put the other client's information in there as well. If you represent the seller and you have a buyer, guess what? Hey, happy anniversary, you've been in your house 1 month. They're like, oh, she remembered. No, my CRM did. Add your non-client party to KV Core. You can start touching them. If you send out newsletters once a week, get them on your newsletter. Most agents do not follow up with their clients afterwards. So you start giving them the touches. Let them know that you're the agent in town to work with. Change the status on MLS. I told you I'm notorious for not doing that. So remind yourself, go to the MLS and change the status if you're the listing agent. Set your reminder to follow up in 1, 3, and 7 days. But I call on day 1. Hey, closing was yesterday. How's it going? Did you guys get in? Just let them tell you about it. There's a story. Closing is a big deal if families are transitioning. So just listen. And then we've got the 3rd day email, the 7-day email. Upload your closing documents to SkySlope. Record your transaction on your income spreadsheet. Be the boss of your own finances. Make sure when that W-2 comes out what is it? What do we get? 1099. When that 1099 comes at the end of the year, make sure it's for the right amount. If you're keeping a spreadsheet all year long, that's a 10-second exercise. So record your transaction on your income spreadsheet. And then I am a paper girl. Like I said, I have a big binder. I staple my CDA to my important contract date the sheet that I did at the very beginning. I stapled that, stapled the check stub on it, and file it away in my binder. Here's my after close day 3 email. This tells them, oh yeah, so this reminds them, hey, make sure the tax assessor knows that you've moved and has your information. The title company tells them that, but woof, I'm telling you, there's so many things coming at them that day that, yeah, just go ahead and remind them to do that. Change the address with your postal service. Change it with Amazon or any other shipment. Make sure your shipments are going to go to the right place. File your homestead exemption. Yay, we don't have to wait anymore to do this. We can right away, and I just have the link right there for them to do it. The title company is going to tell them, but again, there's so many things coming at them that day that if they have a checklist, once the dust settles, yes. Oh, do you have a question? Oh, okay, sorry. And then if they want an alarm, if they have an alarm, you're just reminding them to do that. And then I also remind my buyers that they're going to get mail. People are going to mail them things and get them to pay like $30 for a deed, these things. Those are all bogus. So I just let them know in writing and follow up with a phone call. Don't pay those. The title company is taking care of everything that needs to happen. You do not need to send any more money to anywhere else. And the tax district may call you and ask you how much you paid for your house. It's not public information. You do not need to answer that question if you do not want to. So these are just things that I make sure that they know in writing. Once again, I tell them on the phone, but if it's not in writing, then there's so many countless times things have come back on me that I didn't put in writing. So put it in writing, and then do not hesitate to contact me. So same thing for the buyer. There's another email for the buyer. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This is the day 7 email to buyer. So on the 7th day, I figure like, okay, we're kind of wrapping up here. I'm gonna go ahead and ask them for a review. So good morning. You guys have been very encouraging and complimentary with your comments and feedback about your experience with the Real Hope team. Would you mind leaving a review on Google and Facebook? I'd be very excited to read what you have to say. And then I give them the links again. You are extraordinary people, and I'm fortunate to have had the opportunity to work with you in real estate. Looking forward to fun times discovering Montgomery. So don't forget to ask for that review. Okay. I think one last thing down here. So I use the system also. Sometimes things come, we're always getting bombarded with things, services. I don't always have time to look at them, but if I see something that I think is interesting, I'll come plug it in on which step I think it fits in, and when I have time, I'll go back and look at it. So this home binder thing I thought was really interesting. I think it's a service that will keep track of all the repairs for a house. So if I have a buyer, I set this up on home binder, and if they have to replace the roof, then we put the receipt here. If we have to, and I think it also will give them checks like, hey, it's time for your annual furnace repair. I don't know exactly, but when I have brain space, I'm gonna go check it out because I think that's a great service to add to my people. So I add this here to show you that I haven't vetted this out. I'm not using it, But I have a system in place for things that come through that I think are interesting, that when I have time, I'm gonna go check this out and see if it'd be a value add to my client. I don't have to go searching for it in my Gmail, or what was that company again? What, I don't know what to search. It's right there. After close, I think this might be a good tool, but I don't know yet. We'll see. Okay, so that concludes the contract to close class. Are there any questions? Yeah.
So, just great things. That was extremely thorough and so many things that I don't have in place. So, it's amazing. And so, I really like how you also have it in components on the documents, like step one in the documents. So I'm not really sure if when that's sent out, it will keep that structure. But your structure system, even in how you have it in computer, is also important and great.
So it won't come through. She's making a comment about the structure of this in my Google Docs. It will not come to you this way. The only way I can do it is to download individual documents, but they're all like step 1, step 2, step 3. They're the dance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you should be able to create your own folders pretty easily, and I will give you my card, and I'm happy to help you set that up. You can call it salsa dance. Yes. I thought about sharing it, but then whenever I make any edits or you make any edits, then it edits it for, no? Oh, okay. So then if you want this information, leave me your card, or I'll put out a piece of paper and we can put email address if you're online. Thanks, Larry. Thanks, Annie. Thanks, Melina. Oh, thanks, Letitia. Okay, so if you guys want this information, leave me your name and your email address in the comments, and then I can get it from you guys here, and I'll make sure that it gets shared to you. Yes.
How long have you been doing this and are you still at?
How long have I been doing this? Selling in Texas 5 years, and am I still active? Yes. So let me tell you, it's an interesting question that you ask. I had some very expensive coaching last year, and they taught the same thing that Uncle Nolly taught about leveraging. And this is the stuff that he was telling you: get it out, do it 3 times, and hire a assistant or transaction coordinator, which I have begun to do, just so you know. But in my ethics, my personal ethics, this is the value add to the client. If you are not watching those contract deadlines, to me, it's the most important thing. More than selling myself, more than marketing, all those things, looking out for my client is the most important thing. So it is very hard for me to hand this over to someone, and I have not found the right person to do it with the detail and the touch that I want it done. And so I haven't handed it over. And it has, coaches would perceive that to be a handicap in my business. I'm not going to grow as fast, but that's okay. I don't necessarily need to. What I'm saying is I don't have business just coming to me every day, but the clients that come to me refer me, and I take good care of them.
Well, very thorough. Yeah, I can tell that it's taken a long time to do it. That's why I thought you've been doing this. You shared it.
Yeah, that's what I was asking for. I'm a person, just like you, I want to check it. I want to make sure I send it at the right time. I'm figuring out now that I have a contract, and I think I forgot that. Yeah, and I was like, at the same time, you were doing it because I'm like, okay, I need to add this on. I'm emailing the lender right now, so I was freaking out. But if you share that with us,
yes,
it'd be great. I could go back and just check.
Okay. Yes, well, I'm glad to hear the positive feedback. That means a lot to me. Yes.
What area do you currently specialize in working? Because you had some cleaners and different things, so I'm just trying to place like where in those Because that would be on the information you sent out. I didn't know anyone knew.
Yes, so let me tell you where I work, and then I'll give you a resource. So I work mostly more North Montgomery County, like pushing up into Walker County as well. But if you work Montgomery County, you need to get on the Montgomery County Realtors Facebook page. Because Montgomery County Realtors. Because if I don't have a resource for something, I can search that platform. You don't even have to, I mean, I'm pretty much incognito on that site. I read it because I watch what people are saying, and it's just a very useful tool. But if I need a plumber and I don't have a plumber, I can search that site for plumber, and I see what all the top agents in Montgomery County, who they're referring for plumbers. And sometimes a plumber will have 2 or 3 referrals from an agent. All right, that guy, I know I can refer him. It's a great resource for anything, or attorneys, roofers, plumbers, anything you need. Weird things like, foundation repair, or someone asked for a engineer, things that you're like, where am I going to find an engineer? I don't know. You just go search that site. And if you search and there isn't anything, you can ask, does anyone know a great, foundation engineer? I'm looking for one. And people, experienced agents in the area will come and give you their resources. Oh, Tom, that's nice. Okay, so I'm going to, I don't know if I push X if I'm going to get rid of these messages, so I'm just going to take a minute and write these down. And then I'll put a piece of paper out for you guys, and I'll put some music on. You can dance on your way out, and I appreciate the feedback. So, yeah, give yourself a hand. What a great morning. All right, thanks, guys.
Here are our cards.
we should be able to know and say, yeah, for these circumstances, what makes you. We know the provider selling, getting your market, showing who you're at, you find that rhythm and then work it, and it will go. Yeah. So, this is my Gina. Oh, okay. So you have proof? Okay. And then I will. Yeah, I said, people, how often, if we take this, I can just, and I ask you the questions.
Yes, I will be happy to do that. I'm going to take pictures of this. This is if you don't have a business card. I know that some people don't, but if you do, just leave me your business card.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for coming. Okay.